Yeah, this video should clear up some issues if you had some trouble with the logical operators. Now, notice here I already made a Boolean variable, and I'm going to output the value of the truth. It's either going to be 0 or 1, depending on if it's true or false. Okay, so just a reminder here. If it's true, it'll output 1. And if it's false, it'll output 0. Okay. Now we already know about the not operator, which basically this exclamation mark was called the not operator. It reverses the value. In this case, it'll be a 1 because it's true, because it's not false here. Now if this is true, this is going to change this to false because this is like a reversal here. You can think of it as a reversal. Because is this not true? Well, it's true. It sounds kind of sarcastic when you say it, but it's not. I mean, it just doesn't make too much sense. Maybe. So you can think of it as a reversal operator. But it's really called the not operator, but you can call it the reversal operator. Okay, then we went over some conditions here. Well, there can be multiple conditions other than just true or false. Let's say we had true or false here. Now this will output a 1 here because this is the or operator here. Now with these with the and the or here, with the or operator, only one of these pieces have to be true. And we'll see that this will output a 1 because it's true. Now only one of them has to be true. They can both be true, but it's only going to check to see if one is true. If 1 is true, it'll still be a 1 here. Because only one has to be true. And but if they're both false here, then the whole thing's going to evaluate to false. So only one will have to be true using the or operator. The or operator here. And I made a truth table here. Because here's the or, and here's the and operator that we've seen. Now this right here would represent one side, and this right here would represent the other here. So if they're both true, the whole thing's going to evaluate to true. If one's false, one's true, it's going to evaluate the true. In 3 cases here, and if they're false here, you can see if they're both false, only then would it be false. Other than that, every other condition would be true. And with the and operator, they both have to be true for the execution to be true. Both sides would have to be true. And that's the only possible way to make it true. Other than that, everything else will be false. With the and operator here, so if I use the double ampersand, this would obviously be false because they're both false. Now if I made one true, that's not good enough. Both sides have to be true for the thing to be the overall statement to be evaluated as true. And we can see that here. We've seen a little bit of this in the last video here. That both will have to be true for it to output a true. And we see that we get a 1 in this case. Now, there are multiple things we could have here. We could also have more ampersands here. And we see that there's 3 conditions here. They all have to be true when it looks at these ampersands here. So we could say maybe this char equal y here, and we have to see if x is less than maybe 10. And we can have all these conditions, and if they all happen to meet a certain spot, or a certain condition, if all those conditions happen to be met, maybe something in the program will happen. And we can have all these as true. Now if only one of them is false here, then it'll be an overall 0. It'll be false overall. Because everything has to be true when we use the and operator here. Right here, we can change these to the or operators. Only one has to be true for this statement to be true. So we can change one to false. Since one or more of them are true, It'll still output a 1. All three have to be false for the overall condition to be false. Okay. And then right here, we'll see that we will get a 0 this time for the false, and this time it's 0. So what if we did, let's try something different here. What if we mixed them together here? Let's say we had the and here. Now there is, let's run this here. What do you think we'll get here? We get false and false. Well, this outputs false overall. Well, they're all false, right? So it would only make sense here. Now what if we made this true here? It outputs a true here. Now why is that? Well, if we look at this here, we can take this is kind of ambiguous here. So it's going to evaluate these in a certain order. First of all, the order of operations is that everything with an and in it will be simplified first. So first what this does here, this outputs a 1 overall, saying that this is true. This is kind of the main point I want to get across here. That this false here will be, this right here would be an overall false here. Then it'll simplify this to, it'll simplify this expression after it simplifies that, which would be an overall true. And we see that we will output a 1 here. So first it's going to simplify everything that has an and in it. Then it'll simplify everything else that has an or in it. And that's the order of operations. First it'll execute everything with an and an or here. Well, what if we wanted to check to see if it's true or false first? Well, we can always use parentheses here, because parentheses are executed first. So if we put this in parentheses here, now this statement should be an overall false. And it is. Because what it's going to do, the compiler is going to execute the value in here first. In this case we have a true or a false. Well, that simplifies to a true. Then we have a true and a false, right? Well, both sides aren't true, so that's going to simplify to an overall false. However, if we delete this here, if we delete these parentheses here, just automatically, the compiler is going to look at the and statement first. That's just the rules. That's just how C++ works. It'll look at the and operator first, then once it simplifies that, then it'll look at the or statement. So we could have this. We could have or false, and then we can say, or true, true, and true. Let me just make this smaller so you can see it. And we can have all this stuff going on here. Well, it's just going to simplify it like an algebraic expression here. So right here, this is just going to be an overall false, and this is going to be an overall true here. After that, we all have or statements here. Now, when we have all or statements, if only one of them is true, it'll be true. In this case, it should output a 1 easily. But we can have a bunch of different conditions going on here at the same time, and it's going to simplify the and statements first, unless we have parentheses here. Then it'll simplify the parentheses first, then it'll go to the and statements, then finally the or. We can also use the not here, but remember, that's just a reversal. That's just going to stick with the false here. It'll still execute the and first. And we can just try different things. And so that's the point I wanted to get across. We can have a bunch of different operations at once, and I'll never get that far. I mean, I'm not gonna I wouldn't. I might not use this example in a code here. Have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different conditions in one if statement. You know, maybe you want to put in a cheat code for a game or something, and you want to have a bunch of conditions to be true before something happens. But hopefully this should help. Hopefully this was helpful on the in clearing up the Boolean operators here, because it's going to simplify this one piece at a time here. True here. Up, then we got to take care of this here. So the compiler is really reading this here, and then the compiler will turn this into a true here. And we have true and true. It's going to take care of all the and signs first here. Well, this is a true and it's not false, so this right here overall is true. Then we have true and true. That's overall true. Then finally, true or true. Well, that's an overall true still. So it should output a 1 anyway. But, okay. So that's the wrap on this video. Hopefully that clears things up. Here's the true or false table again. But it's really simple. Hopefully it is simple. And I won't be using too many, at least in these tutorials, I won't be using too many logical operators. I'll be using one at most. And it's probably going to be the and or the or operator, just one time. But if you have a big project due for a class, you know, here, hopefully that helped out.